I serve as president of our university chapter of Phi Kappa Phi. Welcome. Welcome this evening. We are so glad that you are here to join us. We are initiating 12 new Phi Kappa Phi initiates this evening. And I'd like to read a little bit about how to, if you turn to the back page, we'll see how these individuals were selected. Established in 1897, the Honor Society of Phi Kappa Phi. I have a history with microphones, by the way. Sometimes they turn on, sometimes they're not. Established in 1897, the Honor Society of Phi Kappa Phi is the oldest all-discipline honor society. It recognizes and encourages superior scholarship without restriction as to area of study. Membership in the Honor Society of Phi Kappa Phi is earned, and admission is by invitation only. An invitation to join requires nomination by a chapter, and a student may serve as a chapter vice president. Juniors must have completed at least 72 credit hours with at least 24 semester hours at their current institution and rank in the top 7.5% of their class. Seniors must have completed at least 90 credit hours with at least 24 semester hours at their current institution and rank in the top 10% of their class. Graduate students must have completed at least 18 graduate hours or the equivalent at their institution and rank in the top 10% of their class. And faculty, professional staff, and alumni who have achieved scholarly distinction may also be eligible for membership. So again, thank you for being here this evening. And at this time, I'd like to introduce our other members that we have on stage of Chapter 120. Here we have our keynote speaker, Dr. James N. Johnston. Our Vice President and immediate past President, Dr. Kenwin Craddock. And our chapter treasurer, Mrs. Ann Varela. It is at this time that I would like to bring our keynote speaker, Dr. James N. Johnston, to the stage. Actually, up here and to the microphone. Pardon me.
See if I can turn this just a little bit so I don't have to stand and move back and forth. I jotted a couple of notes just to try to keep me on schedule. I joke that as a professor, I talk for a living, so I can do this for any length of time you might ask. And at this stage in my life and my career, probably on about any topic you would like me to speak on. Usually for things like this, I begin with a little bit of my story, share my path to where I am today. I think understanding where we start and realizing the commonality in where we start is an important piece. Some of you have maybe heard of pieces of this, but I want to share just a little bit to begin. I'm a first-generation college graduate. I'm first in my family. I'm one of 9 children. I grew up on a small cotton farm in about 100 miles east of here. And I remember distinctly at the end of my sophomore year, it was one of my teachers, who was my history teacher, my basketball coach, asked me where I was going to college. And I remember thinking, I'm not college material. I'm not smart enough to go to college. I'm not good enough to go to college. I don't think I belong there. And his words exactly said, son, you have to go to college. Next to my father, his word was a directive. And I started thinking about it, but he took an interest in me. He introduced me to what Pell Grants were, scholarships, how to fill out financial aid forms, connected me with Project Upward Bound, all those things that put me on a path to college. And of course, I didn't know at the end of my sophomore year, that being capable of college work. The little school I went to, I did end up graduating as valedictorian of that school. It didn't allay the fears or the doubts about, again, college was going to be so much harder. I didn't know if I could do that, if I could be there. Back in the day of paper registration, I remember standing in a line that had more people in it than the entire school that I graduated from. And that fear and that doubt of standing there one more minute, one more student, thinking, I'll just give it a few more minutes and register for classes. So I always think about that, and that's carried throughout my career, understanding where students began, and it has driven why I do this work, why I'm here today. My own children, some of my cousins and distant relatives followed that path to college, and it means something different for each. My wife Stephanie and I have 4 children, and 2 have professional certificates, 2 have degrees, and so that path, what that means is a little bit different. But I also realize that because I went to college and Stephanie went to college, it doesn't cement that for our children and what's next. It takes a bit of time for that to take root. I followed a non-traditional path as well. I went to school, I did an associate's degree, I went to work, got early in my career, decided I need more education. I went back for just career advancement. Moved a little further, went into administration, needed another degree, another certificate, another degree. So it was that working full-time, having a family, and going to school kind of path. So I really didn't make it easy in any part of my college career. But for each one of us, that shapes that path. I shared a little bit of this story a couple of weeks ago. We had an open house, about 100 prospective students and their families. So we had about 300 people on campus. I shared a little bit of that, and then I spent the day interacting with those prospective students and their parents. And for some, my personal story resonated. The people I was working with, their story resonated with the students, and they felt, and I hope you feel the same, but that there's some part of your story, your path, that connects with Eastern and the family that we are here. I had a question from a prospective student that really I wanted to share with you because it really gave me pause and an opportunity to think about this and the message and the thought I would leave with you. This young lady came to me, and it was about halfway through the day, and she came up and she said, "Sir, may I ask you a question?" I said, "Absolutely." And her question was something to the effect of, "Can you give me some words of encouragement? Why should I pursue a degree? Why should I go to college?" Wow, I've never been asked quite that way before. So I thought for a moment, and my impromptu response to her, something like this, and kind of remember the parts. I said, "First, whatever degree you complete a degree." I didn't go to college to be a university president, obviously, and I'll circle back to that. I said, but here's the things that it did for me. It forever changed the trajectory of my life. The things that I did, the job opportunities, the ability to provide for my family, all those things that changed. It changed me personally in a positive way. I don't speak the same way, I don't think the same way, I don't view the world the same way, all in a positive way. It gives me and would give you the ability to facilitate your own learning. And what I said to her, what I mean by that, is that you don't need someone to tell you what to think. You don't need someone to solve the problems for you. You don't need someone to innovate and lead for you. You have the ability to do that for yourself, no matter what the degree. And the last thing I said to her is something no one can ever take away from you. Once you've earned that degree, you have changed for the better for the rest of your life. It turns out she won one of the scholarships that we were giving away should she attend the university. So some of those things I think feeling like it aligned for, but I reflected later, I hope it was that opportunity for me, at least one of those opportunities to pay it forward. That high school teacher and coach that did that for me, if that was that pivotal, if that was that decision point for her, I hope that I was that same inspiration. So just kind of leave you, or kind of closing my thoughts and reflect on this. What is your why? Why are you here? What will you do with your career? How will it change your life, and what will you achieve through your career and through your degree? Again, I didn't go to school to be a university president. My home discipline is radiologic science. I cared for patients. I worked in interventional radiology at MD Anderson. I loved the research and caring for people. But what I found along the way, in addition to that love of research, was love of teaching. I really enjoyed what I did, and I loved giving that skill set to another group of students that would also care for patients. Then I discovered through administration that it allows me to bring the resources and facilitate for a wonderfully talented faculty and staff to do what they do, and whatever your discipline, help you succeed and achieve your goals, and we're part of your success story. So as you think about this, and as you're inducted, and maybe you had those same doubts of whether you could do college level work, and this is certainly reflective of, yeah, you can be among the very best of us that do college level work. But what will you do with that? How will that shape your life, and what will you give back as you move forward? So it was a question that gave me pause. It was something that lets me reflect again on what I do and why I'm here today. This is a return home for me. This is family, and I try to relate that in every interaction that I have. So again, my congratulations to you this evening, being recognized for the very best of work and the opportunities to succeed, and again, challenging you to think about your opportunity to pay it forward and what you'll do in your life. So again, congratulations, and thank you for being here.
Thank you, Dr. Johnston. So at this time, now I have some instructions for the initiates. Tell you what, if the initiates can move forward and sit in the front row, initiates, please come forward and sit in the front row. Okay, so I'm going to call you up one at a time. Actually, Dr. Craddock is going to call you up, and you will, from the audience right, walk onto stage. Mrs. Varela will hand you, actually first you sign the booklet, sign your name in the booklet. Mrs. Varela, yes, just making sure, will hand you a motto and affirmation form right there, and she will also hand you a packet which contains your certificate and pin. And of course, exit. From our perspective, stage right, that way. And then after we call everyone's names up, at the end of the ceremony, I will have everyone stand, we'll read the motto and affirmation, and then after that, we'll call everybody on stage for a group picture, including members, current members of Phi Kappa Phi. And I see a few out there, so we would like to take a group photo for our website. Okay, it's at this time I'll bring Dr. Craddock up on stage, or up to the microphone.
Good evening, everyone. So this is just in alphabetical order. And as I read out your name, please come up to the stage. We had a number of initiates who weren't able to be here tonight, and they're all listed, but we're only going to read out the names of those who are present tonight. So, Maya Borwick, Christopher Gomez, please come on up. Next up, Chelsea Hatfield. James Johnson. Sejan Casey. Looked like he was able to make it. Autumn Kinchlow. Adriana Mundy. Natasha Nettleton. Ashton Smith. Chancy Sundquist. And Parker Yee. This time I'm going to turn the microphone back to Dr. Schwartz.
And before I forget, I just want to mention that we have some regalia items on stage. I know some of you have already sent me emails inquiring about where can I get some regalia, because I'd like some bling when I graduate, and I get it. So I'm not Vanna White, but I am wearing the let's see, let me make sure I get this right. We have the stole, the medallion, and the cord. And those items are available up here. We don't have Venmo, but we do have cash, or we will accept cash. And if you don't have any cash this evening, you can always try another time. Please send me an email, stop by, and I know some of you do want that regalia to wear perhaps in just a few weeks for graduation. So it is available. And Mrs. Varela will help take care of that. Okay, and now I'd like to read with you the motto and affirmation. As we see here, I will ask of you to repeat the words after me of the motto in Greek. So repeat after me. Philosophia, philosophia, krateto, krateto, photon, photon. And that, and now I guess I'll ask everyone to rise. Please, initiates, please rise. And we'll read together at the bottom of that slip of paper. In response to the honor bestowed on me by my election to Phi Kappa Phi, I shall continue to uphold the motto of Phi Kappa Phi, Philosophia, Krateto, Photon. Let the love of learning rule humanity. Congratulations. And at this time, we'd like to invite all our current members of Chapter 120 of Phi Kappa Phi on stage, and we would like to take a group picture. And I'd also like to thank our sound crew for assisting us with the microphone. Thank you, guys. And I'd also like to thank Mr. Brian Hahn for taking photos this evening. Come on stage, guys. Current members, including Dr. Ayala, Dr. Varela. I see you out there. Come on up, Manny. And Brian Hahn will direct us on how we should stand. I'll leave that to him.